upstanding, and if Your Excellency and Mr. Wilson would like to come to the front, that would be particularly. And this is the beginning of our wonderful Stroke Awareness Week, which has been going on for so many years now. I've almost forgotten how many, but it's well over 40 years for this. So we might start the official proceedings with the acknowledgement of the country, and I might ask Harry Cass to move forward and do that for us, please.
Thank you, Michelle. So I just wanted to acknowledge the traditional people of the land, so the Gadigal people of Eora Nation, and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are with us today.
And as with all events that the Stroke Recovery Association runs, I'd also ask Ms. Brenda Booth, OAM, to come forward and do an acknowledgement of lived experience. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of those present, I'd also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to all people who have a lived experience of stroke. Those joining us today who have experienced a stroke, and those who share that journey with them as their support person. Thank you.
Dr. Teresa Anderson to come forward and welcome the Governor to the grounds of RPA.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and it's wonderful to be here on such a glorious day. I too would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the great Eora Nation, and to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and all Aboriginal people who are here today. And we're very lucky in the Sydney Local Health District to have a long-standing partnership with the Aboriginal Medical Service Redfern, the oldest Aboriginal medical service in the country, and the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council. And together with our non-government organisations and our community, we aim to have the healthiest Aboriginal community in Australia, and we want to get there fast. And we believe that stroke awareness is just so important to our First Nations peoples, and I'm really thankful for the work that our team do with the AMS Redfern, providing outreach clinics and making sure that our community feel really safe where they are. I'd like to acknowledge and give a warm welcome to Her Excellency Margaret Beezley, AC, KC, Governor of New South Wales. Mr. Wilson, thank you for coming. Mr. John Garbutt, President of the Stroke Recovery Association for New South Wales. Ms. Michelle Starkley, OAM, Chief Executive of the Stroke Recovery Association. Judith Thornley, Secretary for the Stroke Recovery Association, and Associate Professor John Worthington, the Director of Stroke Services here at RPA, and so many people who have come here from all of the partners of the Stroke Recovery Association, as well as partners of ours at Sydney Local Health District. I am proud to say that RPA continues to be one of the leading facilities in our country for stroke services, with a dedicated stroke unit and an enthusiastic team who embody our district's approach to patient and family-centred care. In 2022, RPA was the first hospital in Australia to be awarded the Diamond status by the World Stroke Organisation's Angel Awards. RPA's comprehensive stroke service offers 24/7 endovascular clot retrieval, ECR, with ischemic stroke patients from across New South Wales. At an international level, the hospital demonstrates a clear and outstanding commitment to quality stroke care and establishing a culture and systems to support continuous improvement. This includes excellence in outcomes for our patients, such as optimum time to treatment and ensuring they are discharged from hospital on medications to minimise the risk of further stroke. The award is a credit to all members of our amazing stroke team who work together to achieve extraordinary outcomes for our patients. Our dedicated team includes our wonderful colleagues in New South Wales Ambulance, the emergency department staff, radiology, interventional neuroradiology teams, intensive care unit staff, and our comprehensive stroke service, partnering obviously with our colleagues in New South Wales Health and our other local health districts. I would like to congratulate Associate Professor John Worthington and his team, including our clinical nurse consultant, nurse practitioner, Kylie Testula, who is leading this week's activities. Our district has had over 20 years working with stroke recovery in New South Wales, particularly at RPA and Concord hospitals. And this includes significant collaboration through the Creating Connection Stroke Conference, which is on this Wednesday. The conference is an event where stroke survivors, carers, families and health practitioners and students come together to increase awareness and highlight the latest achievements in stroke prevention, treatment and rehabilitation. The Stroke Network is another result of this wonderful relationship. The coordination of stroke services across the state and implementation of evidence-based models of care, which resulted in fantastic results for patients and families in our district. We work together with our stakeholders to ensure the best possible outcomes for everyone in our district and stroke patients across the state, and it shows a real and enduring commitment by our staff towards consumer advocacy and world-class treatment. Thank you, Michelle and the team from Stroke Recovery New South Wales for the opportunity for the district to showcase, happy to host the art showcase here at RPA this week. And I'm looking forward to reviewing all of the work and voting for my pick for the Audience Choice Awards. Thank you all so very much for coming this morning. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Teresa. And it's wonderful for us to be hosted on Saturday RPA as well. So I'd like to now call on our President, Mr. John Garbutt, who will basically say a few words and welcome to the Governor as well, but also a little bit about the association.
Thanks, Michelle. Good morning, everybody. Your Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beezley, AC, KC, Governor of New South Wales, Dr. Teresa Anderson, Chief Executive of the Sydney Local Health District, Associate Professor John Worthington, and all our distinguished guests who have joined us this morning. On behalf of my fellow board members, I would like to welcome you all to the launch of the New South Wales Stroke Awareness Week for 2023. This year we have combined our launch with the opening of the Stroke of Art Showcase, and I'm delighted that you could attend. Your Excellency, I'm delighted that you could attend, Your Excellency, to open the week and enjoy the wonderful artworks created by many of our members as part of their recovery. A special welcome to Alan Rosenberg, the husband of our late founder, Anita Rosenberg. This morning, we're also privileged to be joined by many of our partner organisations from health and disability services and organisations with whom we work closely and whose support we have enjoyed over many years. I would like to acknowledge the team at Royal Rehab, in particular their chairman, Tony Staveley, AM, and their general manager, Matt Mackay. The launch of Stroke Awareness Week is a tradition the Association has built over many years to celebrate the collaborative working relationship between the Association and the wonderful clinicians who go above and beyond in their work to support survivors of stroke and their families. We believe that it is more important than ever to acknowledge their hard work, dedication and commitment to stroke care in New South Wales. The theme for New South Wales Stroke Awareness Week in 2023 is Recover, Regain, Reclaim. A theme we have kept for a number of years now, as we feel it describes the often difficult journey travelled by survivors of stroke and their families. The theme represents the pathway that stroke survivors have followed through their acute stroke hospital setting to rehab and then back to their families and the community to reclaim their lives. We recognise that those experiencing a stroke are not able to complete this journey on their own, which is why during New South Wales Stroke Awareness Week it is so important that we celebrate the collaboration and partnerships between ourselves and our health and disability colleagues. Their contribution often goes unnoticed and the relationship is not always an easy one. However, it is an essential partnership in the recovery journey, and we acknowledge the hard work and commitment of all involved. The Association is a very strong consumer-based organisation with a membership base of over 1,300 members. Through the support of government, we provide a number of services, including a very large advocacy role, participating in a number of strategic planning committees throughout New South Wales. However, the mainstay of our service is those that are provided directly to survivors of stroke and their families. In particular, our stroke recovery clubs, groups and online choirs. The online stroke support groups were developed during COVID-19 and have now become embedded as part of our ongoing service delivery to survivors of stroke. In addition to the 21 regular monthly online stroke support group sessions, our 40 plus clubs and 3 choirs are slowly re-emerging in their local communities. We regularly consult our members about issues affecting their lives. The Association provides a strong voice to all arms of government on the needs of our members. We provide a valuable resource for those involved in all forms of post-stroke research, including that relating to carers. This is an ever-increasing resource for our partners in stroke research. New South Wales Stroke Awareness Week plays a very important and powerful role within the stroke calendar. It provides us with an avenue to remind everyone that while stroke, and you can see I've been affected by stroke, I'll have to anyway separate the pages. While stroke may be a catastrophic event in an individual's life, you can and most very often do go on to live a very productive and involved life in your community after stroke. The Stroke Art Showpiece will be one of the highlights of the week, where members are able to demonstrate how they have invoked their creativity in the recovery journey. You will be the first to view many of these lovely pieces. Take time to enjoy them and please don't leave without voting for your favourite piece. The People's Choice Award winner will be announced on Thursday here at RPA in the Neuroscience Unit, accompanied by a performance of the wonderful Peace Strokes Choir. A particular acknowledgement to our very valued and long-standing partners, the Sydney Local Health District Stroke Network, for hosting the showcase and the 2 events associated with it. While the launch is the official part of the week, we have several other events organised, including the annual Creative Connection Stroke Conference. 2023 will be the 26th year of the conference, and we have world-class speakers who will be focusing on research and the new and emerging technologies in the rehabilitation treatment of stroke, with particular focus on communication and cognitive difficulties faced by stroke survivors. On behalf of the board and members of our association, I would like to express our appreciation to our official guests. It's our pleasure to have you with us and to give you a brief insight into the work undertaken by stroke services in New South Wales. A very special thanks must go to Your Excellency. Your ongoing support of Stroke Awareness Week, our association and its work adds enormously to the value of this annual event. We are honoured to have you with us here today and are grateful for your continued patronage and the support of those affected by stroke. We thank you sincerely and are privileged you're able to share your time with us this morning. Thank you.
I did have a nightmare last night that all the leaders would go off at the same time and there'd be a stroke call. I didn't know so much. So I think that's probably going to come true. So it is my privilege now to introduce Her Excellency to you. Her Excellency Margaret Beezley, AC, KC, Governor of New South Wales, to officially open the Garbutt and launch the meeting.
Kuchiri Gamarua, the Honourable Gamarada, our Govenor, our acknowledgement to country, and thank you for that. And I think not only have names been mentioned already in the room, but everybody in this room has a purpose for being here. So may I embrace you, in effect, in two more words in the Indigenous Gadigal language, the order Witchery, which means good people. And you are good people for all sorts of reasons. As I've been listening and looking around the room, can I just say this, particularly to the medical staff, the doctors and the nurses. We went through that mantra. Once upon a time, every speech used to commence with, oh, we've had drought, we've had fires, we've had the pandemic, and we've had floods. But we know, particularly during that period of the pandemic, which we're not fully over, that it was you who kept the entire country going. So can I just give a shout out to all of you for the work that you do. And that's over and above the extraordinary work that you do in relation to stroke recovery. And thank you for having me as your patron, because being a patron gives myself and Dennis an opportunity to link with you, as we do with so many other organisations and people in the community. And we have a lot of gigs. And sometimes I like to say that our day goes from the sublime to the ridiculous, but I never know which is which. And it seems to change as the day goes on. And but I think what you can say about the ridiculous is what we really mean by that is that when we come to organisations like yourselves, it's ridiculously good. The work, and it's ridiculously important. The work you do, the association that you have with each other is both very, very good and very, very important. And again, thank you to RPA for having Stroke Awareness Week being launched here. Not only for the work that's done on a daily basis, but also for getting to that diamond status in the World Stroke Organisation's Angel Awards. I picked up a quote from Associate Professor John Worthington. I said to him as I came in, I said, your name's Owen Lights. And he said, it's the team. It's just amazing. The good people always recognise those who are around them. And indeed, when you, I do have to tell you, go onto Google and sort of recognise what that award is and find out what that award is all about. What did John Worthington mention? Not himself, but his team for achieving the award. Up there, and it is in lights. And there's always already been a reference to it by Teresa. But it starts with the first phone call. And you get the ambulance coming, and then the emergency department staff. And from there we go to radiology, the interventional neurodiology, the intensive care unit staff, and the comprehensive stroke service. And being on Google as I was and didn't understand a few of the terms, you find out about these extraordinary concepts and this extraordinary work which is being done, which has already been mentioned, which I think is the vascular clot removal process. Now, I've never heard of it before. It's extraordinary work. It must be such intensive work to literally go in to an artery and remove that clot. And that's just one of the high-level neurological and vascular services which is provided by this extraordinary team and those who work in stroke generally. That's treatment. That's when it happens. That teamwork, all the disciplines which are necessary. But as I was thinking about this, it also seemed to me that exactly the same can be said of the stroke recovery. You need a team, different but complementary disciplines, which is so necessary for good ongoing outcomes for stroke patients. And again, because I come from the legal sphere, my whole life has been about asking questions. And I did have to ask myself, well, really, how big is this need? You know, you do stroke, you've had a stroke, you do recovery, but what's this need in the community? And it's extraordinary. Now, there has been, from the work that you do, both at the treatment level to start with and at the recovery level, a 27% decline in the incidence of stroke over the last 2 decades. I mean, how proud can you be of that? But what about the reality check? Over 27,000 Australians experienced a stroke for the first time in 2020, just 1 year. And the figure that I went and did a double check on for a couple of sites because I thought there had to be something wrong in the maths. That means 1 stroke every 19 minutes in this country. And that's expected to grow by 2015 to 1 stroke every 10 minutes. Now, it might be good to be in a job, to be able to be part of the team that helps this, but this is not about being in a job. This is about prevention, and this is about fantastic recovery. Now, we know what plays a part in it, you do. There are geographical issues, there are social and financial issues of disadvantage plays a part in the story. We know that rural and regional Australians are 17% more likely to suffer a stroke than those in the metropolitan areas. Dennis and I go out into the regions and we see the screaming need for good medical services out there. And so it's not surprising that that figure is much higher in the regions. But what is becoming a particular concern is the share of first ever strokes among people 54 years and under. That's increased from 14% in 2012 to 24% in 2020. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that's going on? Is it the higher rates of stress? Is it the diet? Smoking, we'd heard, dropped dramatically? Is it that people don't get exercise as much? Is it because everybody sits at their computer for too long? There must be a whole complex of reasons, but we do know that there are many modifiable lifestyle factors which are important in the story. And the more we know about that, the more that information is out there in the community, the better we are going to be as generally in the health of our community. We also know from those statistics that something like 80% of all strokes are preventable with those good lifestyle choices. Does that mean that you just haven't looked after yourself? Well, 20% is still a big number, and sometimes these things have come in later in your life and have been known much better as time has gone on. But everybody's subject to stress from time to time, not something for which you're responsible. Sometimes you're looking after family, sometimes you're looking after an older person as such, and we all know you don't look after yourself quite so much in that situation. And they're the stories I think we have to think about and get those stories out there. But these figures, what we have to understand, we can quote statistics till the cows come home, literally. But every statistic is a person. It's a person whose everyday independence has been snatched from them as quickly as that, as you know. Take former world champion and Olympian Michael Jordan. He tells a story as how he had to relearn to re-walk the 200 metres that he ran once upon a time in a world record time of 19.32 seconds. His stroke meant he had to start again, but he did. But that's why you are so important, the Stroke Recovery Association, and it's why your work is so vital. And it's this week which provides the focus on all of that, on the statistics, but most importantly, on the people and what you can do in the treatment and in the recovery. It's been 46 years that you've been here, and what an extraordinary work that you've done. It's education, it's advocacy. You've set up your support groups, as we've heard. There's now 42 stroke recovery clubs, and they're all run by volunteers. And of course, you had this year, you brought in to the group the aphasia-specific stroke groups. And thank you for doing that. And also, thank you for now incorporating the working age. That is, those people who are still working who've had a stroke within those clubs into it. Now, we also heard about the choirs, and we definitely heard about the art, especially this week. So congratulations for that. It is a week of celebration, but most particularly, it's a week of thank yous for what you do. It's a week of thank you to the stroke victims who've been prepared to push themselves to give it a go, to re-find a world which has now been affected, but to re-find your independence in different ways. I think we should give you a big cheer now, because you really are absolutely fantastic, because it's not easy. And that's why today is both sublime and ridiculously wonderful. So it gives me great pleasure to now launch New South Wales Stroke Awareness Week and to open this wonderful Stroke of Art showcase.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, that actually brings us to the final conclusion of our official proceedings this morning. So it really now just is up to me to thank everybody for attending today. It's a real pleasure to be here at this wonderful room in RPA building. It's just gorgeous, and you love the history of this hospital. And I think one of the things about the history of this hospital is its excellence, and that is again reinforced by the team of people who work in it today, whether that be in their accident emergency, but particularly in their stroke unit. It's been a pleasure for us as an association to work with this wonderful group of people for many, many years. And we work with the Stroke Network, and we work with Concord as well. And this couldn't have come together today without the wonderful team of RPA. And I'd particularly like to thank Kylie and her team, and in particular Steve. I'd like to throw you under the bus again, Mark, because you've been absolutely superb in assisting us to get all the artworks up and about. So it's been a pleasure to work with you again. As indicated, we do have other events during the week. So the final event this week will be the morning tea, again here in the Neurosciences Unit at RPA, where we announce the People's Choice Award for the artwork. So please don't leave without making your choice. And if you do, you can also go online to our website and make your choice online as well. You only get one vote though. Please don't go in several times and vote. I'm not sure we have the capacity to work out if you've done that, but that would be great. For those of you who haven't heard about our Creating Connections conference on Wednesday, please feel free to give us a ring to come along or come in online, and we will be live streaming that. And Professor Garbutt is our is our keynote speaker this week, and we're really focusing on the issues of communication. And a lot of the artworks that you see today when you're walking around have been done by people who have experienced communication difficulties after stroke. And it is one of the ways that they find to reconnect and find a voice for themselves. So please enjoy it. Our artists will be standing near their artworks to meet the Governor, but also to explain their artworks for you. So in closing, I would again like to thank my board, the Stroke Recovery Association. Without their hard work and diligence over many, many years, the association wouldn't be as strong as it is. I'd like to thank our partners at Royal Rehab, and I'd like to thank our partners at New South Wales Health for their ongoing support of the organisation as well, and particularly the Northern Sydney Local Health District, who provides our money, which is tremendous. And I'd also like to acknowledge my staff and the hard work that they have done this week, or the last week, in order to get this week up and running, and I'm sure by Friday they will know what hard work is all about. So in closing, I will again thank you, Your Excellency, and Mr Wilson for coming along today. It's such a privilege for you to join with us. It really is. It makes the work of our association feel much more special, and it raises its prominence in the community. And as our patron, you've been an absolute supporter of us for many, many years, and I do appreciate that. So in closing, please enjoy the morning tea, have a look at the artworks, and follow and make sure to make your final choice of your people's choice before you leave. Thank you very much.